Hi, we're Lynn
and Nisha,
and you're watching
BTS MVP.
Welcome to another episode of BTS MVP, where we pick out the most iconic moments and our favorite member for all of their biggest hits. But before we get to today's song, let's talk about the drink of the day.
The drink for today's video is a cup of milk, which is referenced in today's song.
Nothing special about this.
Plain, white.
Your regular old
Jungkook has said in one of his lives before that plain white milk is his number one. I'm pretty sure that hurt Banana Milk's feelings, Jungkook. The song of the day is...
Today's song is Dynamite, which you definitely know if you've heard anything at all about BTS.
If you're clicking on this video, you probably know Dynamite.
That's right. It's their monster hit that dominated the world for like a whole year now. And yeah, it's their first song all in English. And as a result, it basically crushed every record worldwide. And it was released first as a single, but now it's on the B album. All right, let's jump right in and talk about our honorable mentions for Dynamite.
This week, we agree on one honorable mention.
That's right, so we're gonna talk about them first. Yeah.
So our first honorable mention is RM. Now, a lot of the time he gets glossed over in Dynamite because his rap section isn't that long.
There's not really any rapping in Dynamite, right?
It's sort of singy rap.
Right, well, one thing about Dynamite, which probably all ARMY know, is that BTS didn't write it.
Yes.
And it's really rare for them to release a single that they had no hand in writing, but they didn't write any of this, so there's not really any rap part. It's just like a pop song, yeah. And so yeah, I agree with you. RM might get overlooked, but at the same time, he's got like
some good
iconic moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
His first iconic line, "Ladies and gentlemen, I got the medicine, so you should keep your eyes on the ball."
Sky's the light, so we dance to the breakdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the medicine, so you should keep your eyes on the ball.
Some members of this household like to make fun of the nonsensical nature of the Dynamite lyrics, including that line. But you know what? Doesn't bother me one bit.
No? You don't want to know?
It is truly excellent.
What kind of medicine does RM have?
I do not care.
What ball should I be looking at?
I accept your offering, RM. It's awesome. But for me, the best thing about RM in this song is when he says, "Let's go."
Let's go. Another thing that I like about RM's part in Dynamite is that because he's the most fluent in English in BTS, he does a lot of the background vocals, which I think was sort of a new thing for RM as a rapper.
I think so too, yeah.
But I really like hearing him sing.
But yeah, the whole idea of RM providing like backup vocals, I think, was very new dimension for BTS and led directly to their performances at MTV Unplugged, which are so beautiful and
in particular, Fix You.
Really nice harmonies. Yeah, RM had a big part in Fix You.
It was very nice.
A lot of people were really surprised. I was surprised. I didn't realize how much backing vocals he provided on Dynamite. But he basically sings all through Suga's part and Jimin's part in the second verse, and he even provides some highlight vocals in the choruses. So listen for that if you're listening to Dynamite and be impressed, because RM is really cool.
This is getting heavy. Can you hear the bass? Boom, I'm ready. Levies, students, honey. Yeah, this bitch ching like money.
For MVP today, we are divided, but both of these MVPs have a very similar part in this song, so we'll be talking about them together. Who's your MVP?
My MVP is Jungkook.
And mine is Jimin.
Excellent. So let's jump right in.
All right. Why JK?
Why JK? Well, his first point is that he gets the obvious intro, right? Like, he gets to start the whole song with a little blurb.
True.
Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night light. Shoes on. Get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone.
And every time they perform this song live, it's like JK focus, right in the center
Walking
front,
down a hall or
looking
doing his own
cool
thing.
in like a cool
So
outfit
good.
with like cool hair, doing cool stuff. Yeah, no, he does really set the tone. I would say
for the
this
whole song. He gets to start it off, and it's a lengthy intro. Jimin doesn't get that.
No, he doesn't. But I mean, I feel like I have a wild card in my back pocket when it comes to Jimin. And that is the little bridgey part. It's not really like a bridge, but there's the part where they sort of pause the
But
song.
do you
and
know who
then-
gets the final line in the bridge?
I don't know.
Jungkook. It's always coming back to Jungkook.
Okay, but Jimin has the part where he goes, in the stars tonight.
Cause I'm in stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night alight. Shining through the city with a little fucking soul. So I'ma light it up like dynamite.
And there's something about the way he says stars tonight that is absolutely iconic to me. Like, that is the heart of Dynamite to me, is Jimin saying that line. And for me, that's what makes this a Jimin song without question. They both have parts in the chorus, throughout the chorus, like the na 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 parts. All of the vocal line at some point does the iconic na na na
Yes,
and
of
the
course.
shining through the city
Yes.
with a little funk and soul.
One thing that I will give to Jimin, however, when him and Jungkook are sharing the chorus, although Jungkook gets the first two lines consistently, whereas Jimin is sort of in and out, Jimin gets to say, light it up like dynamite, which is an iconic line.
Shining through the city with a little fucking soul. So I'ma light it up like dynamite. Whoa.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really hard to separate them in this song. They both provide much of the structure of the song, and they both provide a lot of the highlight vocals, high notes, and Jimin, I will add, has the very, very ending bit.
Yes.
At the end of the song. But for me, it's about that quiet moment in the middle of the song. For me, it's a Jimin song.
Speaking of the ending part, that's Jimin's. You're never gonna guess who is ad-libbing the high notes in the background. It's Jungkook.
Is it?
Yeah. So I think we can settle on it's a Jiku song.
It's a Jiku song.
Light it up like dynamite. Oh.
I also want to, before we close up talking about honorable mentions.
Yes.
I would like to throw a special shout out to V,
Yes.
because
Rocks the Dynamite era.
the whole
thing.
era is
The
so
dance.
V. I agree.
He's vibing.
the look,
clothes.
the clothes,
The forehead.
the retro.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so V. He doesn't have the hugest part in this song, but you can tell every time he performs it, he is loving it. He's living his best life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and so certainly when it comes to the visuals, V has it down on lock.
Oh yeah. It's a V era.
For sure. So when it comes to fun facts, I mean, we could talk about all the records and all the awards.
The
and
Grammy nomination.
yes, and the many, many chart-topping events and the YouTube records and the video records.
So Dynamite, an excellent record-setting song.
Yeah, it is. But what I really wanted to talk about here was the awards show presentations. So because Dynamite was nominated for so many awards at the end of 2020, they performed it over 20 times on awards
crazy.
shows. And every single time they built like an elaborate set and had
Yes.
custom costumes, and they tried to like sort of mix it up in the way that they performed it, leading to an outstanding collection
Outstanding.
of Dynamite performances. We will link to as many as we know about in the description, but if you know of any others, please feel free to add them.
Some favorites of ours. The Tiny Desk one.
The
Very
Tiny
fun.
Desk performance is
Lovely
a
outfits.
little bit acoustic. I know, their outfits all match. It was the first one I think I saw, and it was really great.
And the Dance Break. Iconic.
That is from the 2020 MMA
Wow.
Awards, where
J-Hope
J-Hope wears the purple jumpsuit. It's iconic,
So
to say
good.
the least. Yeah, and on Twitter they had a bit of a poll where you could vote for your favorite Dynamite performance, and that one actually
Non-officially.
won. True. It was just fan generated, but that's the one that took it. Although I couldn't vote for it because Suga's not in it. Suga missed a lot of the Dynamite performances.
Yes, that was the saddest thing about it.
So a lot of these, even though they're beautiful, don't have Sugar in them. But he is in the Tiny Desk one. And then I would also like to throw a special shout out to my personal favorite,
Yes.
which is the America's Got Talent one.
Ah.
Which is where they're in sort of like a retro street.
Very cool, very cool.
It's not quite all one take, but they film it as if it's all one take. I love that one so much. Their costumes, the set.
So pretty.
It's so pretty. Anyway, you could easily spend all afternoon watching Dynamite award show presentations.
Definitely.
You should definitely do that.
Get lost in a Dynamite hole.
Nice. Okay, so for all those reasons, that's why we consider Dynamite to be a Jungkook Jimin song.
Is it really a Jimin song?
It's definitely a Jimin song, with a special mention going out to RM. Let us know what you think in the comments, and as usual, I will put links to all the clips that we used, as well as lots of other awesome Dynamite performances in our description.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when we post new videos.
See you next time. This has been
BTS MVP.